what do you love most about SEO?
I love that anyone could do it. I love that it is something that you could get in without a lot of money. I root for the underdog. I love helping people out, especially the guys that don't have a crap load of money every month. The cool thing about SEO is you don't have to have the best website in the world. You just got to be a little better than the guy in front of you. Google, at the end of the day, it's just an algorithm. It's a robot, and its whole job is to crawl pages and put the best and the most complete answer in front of a searcher as fast as possible.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for today's episode of Disruptors. Today we have Keith Sant with SEO Meets Real Estate Investors. Keith flew in from Harlingen, Texas? Harlingen, Texas, to talk about how he generates over $1 million in real estate leads per month. Guys, I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires. The information on the show alone is enough to help you become a millionaire in the next 5 to 7 years. If you take consistent action, you'll become one. And guys, if you get value out of this show, please hit that subscribe button. That way we can all grow together. You ready?
Absolutely.
All right. So we got a slightly different path here. So I want to go back to when you started real estate. So what was your life like right before you got into real estate?
Oh man, I just graduated from college. I dropped out of school actually when I was like 16. I got emancipated, got my GED. I went back to college when I was like 23. Or I graduated, I guess, when I was like 23, 24 or something. And I just got out and I just wanted to be a better entrepreneur. I didn't really, but I got out and I was actually studying for my LSATs because I wanted to be a better negotiator. That was one thing I sucked at. Like I was really good at, manufacturing things, making things, like a lot of different things, but like sales wasn't one of them. Like I would just make the best thing and then sell it for cheaper than everyone else.
Right.
I didn't know how to take something that was like subpar and sell it at a premium. And so I figured, maybe law school would help me do that.
So
but
you took your LSAT
I was in the process of
to
it.
work on your negotiation skills.
That was the plan.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you take the LSAT?
No. I one of the guys actually that I went to school with at the University of Washington, he was in real estate, flipping houses and wholesaling some stuff. And I kind of bumped into him at a restaurant one day, and I was always interested in that. I'd heard him talk, in like a project at school talking about how I was flipping houses, and I don't want to be that guy like, oh, tell me, teach me, but I was always interested. And then bumped into him at some restaurant, and he told me to, yeah, Keith, man, I remember you, get a hold of me tomorrow. And so I got a hold of him the next day. We met up, and then I just started learning everything I could from him, and taught me about wholesaling and real estate, and I was just like on it from that day.
So you graduated college already.
Yeah.
And you were working on taking the LSAT. And then you met this guy at the restaurant, and he's like you're already aware of him, but now you're like jumping into it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, what was that journey like?
Man, so like I was making like nothing. I was basically working for him for free for like 5% of any deal that we got, and I was trying to do
You were on his team.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Doing a bunch of like marketing, anything I could, I'm learning. I graduated with a marketing degree, but like they didn't really teach me how to market, right? Like they teach you about marketing, they teach you about like, but they don't actually show you how to run Facebook ads or how to have a successful direct mail campaign. Or I think there was maybe like 2 pages in like the whole marketing textbook about SEO. Like they just don't talk about it. It was really weird.
What did they talk about?
I don't know, like cost per, view from like television and radio, and, you learn a lot of theory, but nothing like actual practical. Like I graduated with, 4-year degree, but I wasn't like employable. Like, I mean, I was employable, but what, like $17 an hour or something, nothing to like actually like fund a lifestyle that,
Yeah. I always wonder what they talk about, right, in marketing school. Cause like, I'm thinking, is this like Fifth Avenue advertising, or is it like they teach you like how to like service Coca-Cola with like a Super Bowl budget, right?
I mean, basically, they teach you how to be an employee, right? And like there was no degree on how to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, because like I studied direct response marketing. I want to say back around like 2010, whatever. That's when I kind of got into that world. I was like, this is very different than what we all think marketing is. But for us small business people, way more applicable to our business than this marketing degree stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're working with this guy, and you're doing his everything, not just marketing, you're doing his everything for 5%?
Yep.
Okay, how did that go?
Not really well. Like, kind of quickly, I realized that he wasn't someone I really wanted to do business with. The way he like talked to sellers and like kind of treated them like they were like below him, kind of stuff. It just wasn't like the vibe that I like jived with. You know, I feel like everyone's equal. Like,
Right.
and but I met another guy through him, and me and him kind of branched off and started our own thing, and
Gotcha.
and that was just rock solid.
When was that?
What was it?
When was that?
That was 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2018, you find a new guy to partner with. At this point, had you done any deals with this guy, or that you were just already like, this isn't working, I'm out?
Like a couple. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you involved in the deals, or you were just kind of like, I don't know, like not on the sidelines, but like not directly involved?
I mean, I wasn't like directly talking to the sellers, but I understood. I learned how to like, underwrite the properties and what we're looking for and how to do, we were just doing like simple Craigslist ads and, kind of, Facebook posts and ordering bandit signs and stuff like that. And
Right.
yeah.
So then you go and partner with this other guy, and you hit the ground running, or?
Yeah, like and honestly, the other guy too, he was never really into wholesaling. So we actually like I invested in like a flip with him, and we did a flip and then like another one, and I'm like, man, this is amazing. Like, getting a good little ROI on my cash that I'd like saved, and I was like, I could do this full time forever. And then kind of as I'm learning more and more about real estate, I'm like, Beto, like there's this thing called like wholesaling where we don't actually have to buy the property, we don't have to deal with realtors, and
You're like Newton when the apple fell in there. It's like,
For
oh
real.
my God, there's a whole nother world.
Well, one of the first deals that we got too, like it was one of the first ones I got on my Carrot site. The very first lead. It was hot, amazing deal. We got it, we flipped it, we had it listed about a week in, and a huge storm came in, flooded the whole house. All of our staging furniture floated off to one side.
Oh,
The stove's
geez.
full of water, everything. We had to flood cut the whole thing. Like it was literally like just horrible. And it was like a 3,700 square foot house too, like in a country club, like a bigger house than you really wanted to flip. But yeah, like right then I was like, man. And so like I was like all in on let's do this wholesaling thing. And he was
Did
like,
you at least have the insurance on that thing?
yeah. But still, I mean, there was stigma with the neighborhood now. People didn't even want to buy, and that.
Well, that's true, but like, there's a lot of people that don't insure their flips the right way,
Yeah.
right? Like, I didn't learn until early. Unfortunately, it didn't happen to me, right? I got the benefit of learning from other people's mistakes, but there are a lot of people that, whether they're it's a rental or it's a flip, insurance companies deny those all the time if it hasn't been occupied in the last 30 days, unless you have a special rider,
Really?
right?
Yeah.
And so I've seen plenty where they're like, oh yeah, it's not covered because it's been vacant for 31 days.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, that'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, so it was covered.
Yeah.
Okay, did you come out on top, or did you lose money on that deal?
We came out on top, but we didn't sell it for like a year, and I didn't have a ton of money at that time, so
Kinda
like
needed
all
to
my
sell.
money is kind of sitting in this house that I was thinking we were gonna turn it over in 90 days, not 12 months. So
Right.
it was just
Yeah.
left a sour taste in my mouth for flipping,
Okay.
and
So then you're like, okay, this wholesaling thing, this is it.
yeah. And my partner at the time, he wasn't really into. He's like, I tried, I'm just not that good at it. Like, he was killer negotiator. Like, if you got him in a room with like any seller, I mean, people just loved him. He'd laugh with the seller, cry with the seller, pray with them. Like they all felt great about selling him the house at a good decent price, and but like he didn't know how to market. Like he was just not really tech savvy. I mean, he still has an @AOL email, if that tells you anything. But like, and I'm like, well, Beto, like, let me see, like, let's get our phone ringing more, and then you don't have to like, get every deal and then flip every single thing. And so we.
Were you a good marketer at this point?
I mean, I was willing to work 14 hours a day and learn, and
Okay.
yeah.
Well, because like, yeah, I mean, if his challenge was that he wasn't good at marketing, but he's a killer salesperson,
Yeah.
then all he needs is a killer marketer.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was in Texas, and I'm up in Washington. So like, and that also, so he did all the on the ground stuff, went and negotiated.
So were you doing deals in Texas, or were you doing deals?
I was doing deals in Texas from my house up in Washington.
Okay, so you were never doing deals in Washington.
I was after. I did that after. I was working with him for about a year before I actually started my own company up in Washington,
I
Kind
see.
House Buyers, and that's what most people know me for.
Where did you go to college?
University of Washington.
University of Washington. And you partner with this guy in Texas. How'd that happen?
Actually, so the guy that I met at the University of Washington, they were like border patrol agents, back in the day, in like South Texas. And so like they were kind of buddies, and that's how I met him. So we closed like 30 deals together, and I actually never met him in person. We did like a ton of Zoom calls and but I actually never met him in person. I actually met him in person for the first time at Carrot Camp, where I got him to come to Carrot Camp with me. And yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So, so you're doing auto marketing remotely for Texas. What part of Texas?
South Texas.
South Texas.
Like the tip.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So you're doing deals, and then what did you figure out about marketing at this point?
I found pretty quickly that like all leads aren't the same, right? Like, I tried a bunch of different stuff: cold calling, texting, ringless voicemails, bandit signs. There were just some that, like I could get really cheap ringless voicemail leads. I get really cheap text messaging leads, but you'd have to talk to a lot of them, right? It was like 35 leads to actually close one deal.
Right.
And so like, that's, a ton of, analyzing properties, a ton of follow-up, probably like 8 to 10 appointments out of all those. And so like, but with the online stuff, it was more like 1 in 12, 1 in 15. And so, especially like kind of being like a one-man kind of show, like your quality of life goes way up when you have to talk to half as many people to close one deal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Most business owners waste their time and money on solutions that never fix the root problems. They'll address all the symptoms due to slow revenue, and because they're only fixing the consequences, the real problem stays hidden and the cycle of wasting time and money continues. It's like having a lingering headache that won't go away despite trying every over-the-counter medicine. When in reality, you should have just gone to the doctor and had them figure out exactly what was causing the headache. And that's what's so difficult about business. You can see and feel the symptoms and yet struggle to find it. Now imagine you can find a prescription that doesn't just mask the symptoms, but actually addresses the root cause. Where would your business be if you addressed that right now? That's what our sales event is about. Your marketing doesn't suck, your leads aren't bad, and your operations aren't terrible. It's that you haven't addressed what actually makes you money in wholesale, which is the conversations you have with homeowners. It's critical that you build trust with sellers, demonstrate that you fully understand their situation, know exactly what's keeping them up at night, and paint the ideal outcome that leads them to a better future by working with you. That's what it takes to get signed contracts and keep your business going. Simply put, at our event, you'll walk away with the framework, phrases, questions, documents, and process to close more sales and buy more houses. Join the hundreds of others who have come to our live event and dramatically grown their business. Our event is happening soon and is available for you to join only if you're willing to take the pill. But you didn't, I guess, when you made this decision to go into wholesaling versus flipping, were you the primary marketer for deals for flipping?
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, had you started doing PPC and SEO?
I'd done a little bit of SEO. We hadn't even really done any pay-per-click yet.
Okay.
But yeah.
I see. All right. So then you said, all right, I'm going to figure this out. And you started doing online leads. Okay. And then how was that journey?
It was good. I mean, I'd say I've done enough things wrong to know what to do right. Right. So like there was a ton of mistakes along the way. I still learn new stuff all the time. But it was good. Like I said, the very first lead that I got was just a killer deal. It was a killer deal, and that kind of got me hooked. I'm like, man, like I want to outrank everyone in this market, and I'm very competitive. There was one guy at the time, his name's Hank, and it was like Hank buys houses or something, and like my alarm every morning was literally like screw Hank. And I'm like, I'm gonna outrank him, and so like yeah, kind of.
Gotcha. Okay, so was that easy?
It was. Actually, in that market, like the South Texas market, there wasn't a lot of other people, like, yeah, it actually was pretty easy. When I started up in Washington, it was a lot more competitive, right? So like, yeah, it was harder. There's some markets that are just way easier to get into online than others. Like,
I don't want to jump to, I don't make assumptions, but I imagine a small town, probably a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your town, was it Tacoma?
Tacoma, up in Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but that took a little bit more work.
It did. And Tacoma's not even a big city. There's like 250,000 people there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people online there.
Mm-hmm.
There's other spots that are just dumb competitive for no reason, kind of like Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Like Philly is crazy competitive online. There's a ton of people doing SEO there, and like the juice isn't even really worth the squeeze. Like the population's not that high, and so
you know why that is?
Just more people doing it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's like I had my own little SEO journey, right? And so like I want to say around 20. I mean, I don't know, it's 2009 is when I started doing it, but definitely, 2010 through 2012. I know I was doing it when I was still doing REO stuff, listing properties for banks. And I was doing my own SEO. And like at this time, my understanding and I was as a realtor, wearing a realtor hat, right? At this time, basically Phoenix and Austin were like the two most competitive for SEO. Just for whatever reason, they were just leading tech, right? And I go to California for these REO conferences and I meet all these other realtors. And I talk to them about like websites and SEO and like page load speed and like link trees and all these other things. And they look at me like I have like another hole in my head. They're like, what are you talking about?
Agents? Yeah.
Realtors, right? That's particularly disappointing because this was actually an Asian real estate conference. So I was like, man, like you guys really are just not living up to the stereotype, right? But yeah, it seemed like at least in California, back in the early 2010s, no one really cared about SEO.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you get this going easily in South Florida, challenging in Tacoma. How quickly were you able to turn it around?
I got my first deal up in Tacoma in like a 6-month period, or like around that 6-month mark. Mm-hmm. But again, that was still like, I'm chugging along doing a lot of things that I thought, where I was doing right, or like, a lot of things that just weren't moving the needle, but I thought they probably were at that time. And
what were some of those things that you thought would move the needle, but then if you could remember?
Oh my God. Subdomain backlinks, like, doing your own little private, blogs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like, sell my house fast.mystrickenly or, blogspot.com or something. Like those just aren't going to power your site. Yeah. At least they probably did back then. Actually, they did actually a lot more then, but now they don't. And
yeah, I mean, that's kind of stunts I would pull, right? Like, again, I'm doing my own SEO. It's like you have friends that have blogs, right? And then you have on the right-hand side these like blog links, right? Like here are the blogs that we recommend, right? And like 10 of you guys are all pointing to each other's blogs. And like they're real blogs, right? And they had PageRank, they had juice until they didn't, right? And there's like, the big thing you guys heard me complain about it. Sorry, you guys keep bringing it up, right? Panda and Penguin, right? Like white hat tactics. This works with the blue anchor text, right? Over and over again. And it doesn't. And then what was considered white hat immediately becomes black hat. So what you're talking about, the subdomains and the blog spot and all this, and what was it? What was the other one? There's a blog site that like it's morphed into something really awful. It wasn't Blogger, but you know what I'm talking about? It's for a specific group of people.
Yeah, I mean there's a pile of them.
Right. But anyway, they would all you would get that blog just to get the page rank, and you move it over here, and then that momentum all kind of disappeared. So what other things did you try that was like you thought would be good, then didn't work?
I mean, like even like social media posting and stuff, like it helps a tiny bit, but it's not something to go spend a ton of time on. It's not really going to move the needle.
So we're going to definitely want to talk about what's going to move the needle. So you come in here, you're wearing a Carrot shirt, right?
Yeah.
So were you always using Carrot to do all this work?
Yeah. I have like 12 different websites. All my sites are Carrot sites.
So it's fascinating, right? Because Trevor launched Carrot a long time ago, and the point of Carrot, because I remember hanging out with Adrian Nez right, before he passed, and the point of Carrot was to have great SEO ranking, great page load speed, but not necessarily pretty, right? But it works. It still works today.
Absolutely. Carrot still works today? Yeah.
For SEO.
Yeah. I mean, anything like, you still need to do stuff to your site.
Of course, you need to do things to it.
Yeah.
But like as a wireframe, right? Versus like getting like a WordPress site or, I don't know, Go High Level site or whatever people are using to design websites.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely go get a WordPress site. It's just, it's, for the average real estate investor, it's going to take them a lot more energy and time to get that off the ground. And let's just say you go hire someone to go do your custom site, and then, you want to add some more pages, or you need to tweak something, and then you got to go find that person again. And, if they're ghosting you, like Carrot's got, support right there, like 5 days a week, 9 to 5, boom, you could, pop in the chat, and they're always there to help.
But why is Carrot so effective?
I mean, again, you go take a WordPress site and go rank it. Like, definitely Carrot has killer, site speed, like they're faster than a bunch. They have a lot of other things just built in. It makes it so you can jump off the ground really quick, like forms, right? Go try to create a 2-step form with like text message and, autoresponders to clients, like on WordPress. Like that's going to take you a week if you can figure it out, right? And you can just jump on Carrot, and that's already.
So it's not any particular technological advantages. It's just having a community of other people trying to do the same thing as you.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So then what are some of your biggest victories inside, your real estate journey and then your SEO journey?
Man, a ton of stuff along the way. On the real estate side, I mean, one of the coolest things that I love. So like I did a ton of wholesaling. I've closed a ton of deals. We did the flipping and stuff. I haven't really been super interested in, I love SEO. I don't know why. My brain just like this stuff like really excites me. It's fun. It's competitive. I like it more than I like closing deals. Like I'm good at negotiating with sellers and stuff, but it just drains my energy at the end of the day.
Right.
So like actually a couple years ago, I passed all my leads from all my websites off to one guy, and we split the deals 50-50. So like my website's like an asset, right? Where we like I actually haven't talked to a seller in like a year and a half now.
In Tacoma?
Yeah, or anywhere.
Yeah. Well, and this is something that Trevor talked about when he was on the show.
Yeah.
And it was energy audits. Sounds like you did an energy audit.
Absolutely.
So for those that didn't watch that episode, you guys should go back and watch the episode with Trevor. Can you elaborate on what an energy audit is?
Oh my God, it's kind of going through, right? Like as an entrepreneur or business owner or whatever, there's hundreds of different, tasks or hats you could be wearing and doing different things. Some things are gonna, take away your energy, and some, like I hate the accounting or bookkeeping or, negotiating, selling, that kind of stuff, dealing with, buyers is just, ugh. But there's things that when I do, like I actually, I'm fired up, I'm pumped, and like I actually brings me energy and makes me want to show up to the next day to work, right? And so kind of laying out all those little things, writing them down, what drives you, what doesn't, and kind of delegating all the stuff or just eliminating it, depending, changing your business model. There's all kinds of different ways to kind of just do more things that fire you up.
Gotcha. So you did an energy audit at some point. You decided, okay, all the things in real estate don't excite me, so any leads it's just gonna go to one guy. And then you get to spend more time doing SEO.
Yep.
So we put the bold claim in the title: over $1 million worth of real estate leads every single month. Now, technically $1.5 million, but it doesn't quite flow the same in the title.
Yeah.
Right. So technically $1.5 million in real estate traffic, or in traffic that is someone would pay $1.5 million for. Right. So that's an accurate.
Yeah.
assessment.
Yeah. So like if you were going to do like pay per click, right, you'd be spending like, that's how much we generate like for different clients and across some other sites of my own.
How many clients would you estimate you got across for the $1.5 million?
About like 50.
50 clients.
Yeah.
So rough math, right? So 1.5, that'd be 150, right? For 5. So $30,000 worth of leads per month in SEO leads, which like for someone, I mean, 30,000 goes a pretty long way in PPC, right? Someone who's spending 30,000 a month PPC, they're basically getting $30,000 worth of leads for free through SEO.
I mean, free, like
Cheap.
Way cheaper.
Yeah.
Like it's way cheaper. SEO is like definitely the cheapest cost per lead out there over time. Okay. It's not in the beginning because you got to spend some time, energy, effort to like build your stuff up, get the name of the game with SEO is dial in your page better than the guy next to you, and then get more/better backlinks than the guy next to you. So if the guy next to you has, a lot of backlinks, you need to catch up to them. So usually you're, velocity really heavy in the beginning. But then once you get up there and you're outranking everyone in your market, unless you want to expand, you don't have to keep on getting more backlinks just for the sake of getting backlinks. I mean, you want to get a few to look relevant, but like, I'm talking like $500 a month or something, right? Not like 3,000 to when you're like really trying to grow.
Okay. So let's just do a case study, right? So you and I were best friends, right? Well, technically we met in 2019, right? In Biloxi, Mississippi, right? So let's just pretend you're like, man, Steve, I like what you're doing. I want to help you be the king of SEO in Phoenix.
Let's do it.
Right? Let's do it. Walk me through what you would do to become the king of SEO in Phoenix.
Yeah. So first, dial in your website.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is create, a really good location. Like I'm sure, like
so let's take a step back.
Yep.
So you're talking about domain, or you're talking about a website?
Like your website.
Okay.
You could have any domain. I mean, the guy that's ranking number 1 right here is like Doug Hopkins, I think.
Right. So let's take another step back then, just to really, really make it basic, right? Am I going Carrot? Am I going WordPress?
I'd say go with Carrot.
Okay. So because you're doing this, right? We're doing this together.
Yeah.
So Carrot.
Carrot.
Right? Domain doesn't really matter that much.
Not really.
Okay. So now we're going to create the website. What are the elements we need inside the website?
Location pages are the biggest.
Okay. What does that mean?
So Google doesn't rank websites, they rank pages. And in our industry, each page should be about a location, right? So if you want to rank in the city of Phoenix, you would have one super awesome page all about, sell my house fast Phoenix, we buy houses, cash home buyers, company that buys houses, cash for my house, everything Phoenix.
So
trying to get as many keywords as possible.
Each one of those pages for Phoenix.
One for Phoenix.
Or for Phoenix.
One for one for Tempe, one for Gilbert, one for Scottsdale, one for any city that you care about.
Okay. So is this an about page or we buy houses?
They'd all be like we buy houses kind of stuff.
So I have a we buy houses Phoenix, we buy houses Surprise, we buy houses Tempe.
Yep. All on the same website though.
Okay. All on the same website so that they kind of link to each other.
Yep.
Is that more or less correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to create all these pages. Right? And it's about we buy houses, sell my house fast. That's I don't think we're allowed to say keyword stuffing, but the idea is we want those keywords inside the website, inside that page.
We want keywords, but actually what's more important are like single words, single word densities. The old way of SEO would be like, if I want to rank for like sell my house fast, I would put sell my house fast over and over again on a page.
Right.
Well, as you know,
Google,
they got smart. That doesn't work anymore. They call it keyword stuffing if you do it too much.
Right.
And honestly, sell my house fast is a crappy keyword, like straight up. Like everyone that wants to sell their house and Google sell my, like they want to sell it fast, right? Whether they're going to sell it with an agent or whatnot, like no one Googles sell my house slowly. But just because they want to sell their house fast doesn't mean they want a cash offer. It doesn't mean they want to sell it for cash.
Does not necessarily imply intent.
Exactly. So I'd rather go cash keywords like sell my house for cash, cash home buyers, company that buys houses for cash, cash for my house. We buy houses cash is a way better keyword than we buy houses. Same as sell my house for cash is way more intent. So the conversion rate goes like way up. I'm talking like 20% conversion rate, which means like 1 in 5 clicks turns into a lead instead of 1 in 35 or 1 in 90. Like
Right.
And so like as far as like this, so the single word density, like so I would have, if I want to rank for a page like location page, I want it to be optimized for selling a house for cash in Phoenix. I would have sell, house, and cash the most used words on that page, not necessarily in that order though.
Not necessarily a phrase.
Exactly. So like, and I would have them like 2% density. So sell, house, cash, and then Phoenix, like right underneath that.
Gotcha.
So I'm signaling to Google that that's what this page is about, right? And then we would want to sprinkle in, we buy houses, sell my house for cash, cash home buyers, just mentioning a couple of those because you can't rank for stuff if you don't have it on your page.
Right.
But the single word density is not only helps you show up for, the stuff, those keywords that you type in, but it also helps you show up for like the thousands of other phrases that people search every single day that aren't, even proper grammar or like, all kinds of random stuff. And again, so like buy my home, right, is a huge keyword. Like there's no one more motivated than someone that Googles like who will buy my home or who will buy my house. Like they're ready to go. But if if you have if you have house, at a high enough density, you show up for that. Not necessarily we buy houses, but of just putting buy at a,
So one location page for each city in Phoenix Metro.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what you're talking about a lot sounds like there's a lot of on-page SEO.
That is half of it.
Right.
Half of it, dialing your page.
Half is on-page SEO. So is that enough if we have like just those pages for me to start ranking for Phoenix as far as what I can do on the website?
You'll jump up a ton. It can be enough in a lot of like even the outskirt cities. I could get you leads with just making without really like any links. But if you want like consistent, monthly, where you're like, hey, I'm closing at least a deal a month from SEO, you're gonna want backlinks to power those pages.
So is there anything else I need to do as far as on page goes before we talk about off page?
I mean, I could talk to you about every little thing, right? Like the first thing,
Got time.
Google, at the end of the day, it's just an algorithm. It's a robot, and its whole job is to crawl pages and put the best and the most complete answer in front of a searcher as fast as possible. So our job is to show Google that we have the best and the most complete answer through all these little data points. Like the first thing that algorithm crawls is your title, right? So, actually putting what this page is about. I see a lot of people put their company name right there on their homepage, right? But again, Google doesn't rank websites, they rank pages. And so each page needs to be about its own thing. Most people have a page to rank for their company. It's usually like our company or about us or something.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put my company name on my page that's supposed to be optimized for we buy houses in Phoenix, sell my house for cash Phoenix, if that makes sense. Right. So the title, then the meta description, those single word densities, are really important. So sell, house, cash, 2%, Phoenix, 1.5 to 2% right underneath that. We do want to mention fast, even though it's not super motivated. It's high volume, and it's hard to tell Google you have the most complete answer about, selling a house quickly to, if you don't put fast in there. And then also buy, because again, that helps you with some really low hanging fruit. Gotcha. And some really good stuff. And then after that, your headings. Headings are super valuable piece of real estate. SEO etiquette says you should have one H1. An H1 is like your main title for that page, right? If you look on like my site, a lot of my client sites, I'll put 2 keywords in my H1. It'll be like, we buy houses Tacoma, and then I'll just hit like Shift Enter, Command Enter, depending, to break the line, and then sell my house fast for cash. So I got like 2, because you got one H1, I'm trying to make the most of it, and then after that, your H2s are your secondary headings. And so those are like those secondary topics underneath that main keyword that you're trying to go after. And for me, all my H2s should have a keyword and a location. So that's, I see people put all kinds of, random stuff, or like, instead of like how it works. But like, again, Google's just an algorithm. When you put a heading that just says how it works, they don't understand what that is, right? Like, are you a check cashing place, a used car dealership? Like, a better heading would be like, how to sell your house for cash in Phoenix, or, etc. Or instead of saying, why sell to Steve Trang, why sell your house to cash home buyers in Phoenix would be a way better heading. And so those H2s are a really valuable piece of real estate, and that's how you pick up like a lot of other keywords. The images are also a big spot where I see a lot of people kind of falling short. They'll just, they'll say screenshot 1279 whatever, or just any random thing, right? But you can pick up a lot of keywords in the back end with optimizing images. So if I want to rank for something like cash home buyers in Tacoma, I'm going to make it a heading. Then I'll talk about that thing under that heading, right? Selling your house, for cash to kind house buyers, or to a cash home buyer in Tacoma, and then like, my image, Keith Sant, it's not called Keith Sant, the owner of Kind House Buyers. It's literally named Cash Home Buyer Tacoma, Cash House Buyer Tacoma. And then I'll go to the next block. We buy houses in Tacoma. I have, all the situations when you sell your house to We Buy Houses company. And then I got 6 different icons right underneath that. Each one, we buy houses, we buy homes, we buy houses as is, we buy houses fast, we buy houses cash. Yeah. So you have 4 different, you have the title, the file name, the alt text, and the description on each image, and you could pick up a ton of stuff on the back end.
Right.
Even things like sale my house is a really, or people Google sale my house all the time. Right. And I'm never going to put sale my house on my page because, not proper grammar, but if someone Googles sale my house, I want to be there. Those are my people. But so
that's fascinating. I've never thought about sale my house.
Oh man. Yeah. So if I put sale, sale my house quickly and stuff like that, or even we buy ugly kind of stuff on the back end. I won't put it on my page, but we buy ugly homes, we buy, ugly house, we buy, different stuff on the back end. So you could show up for those kind of phrases.
That's brilliant. Okay. So then, so that's on page. What about is there any particular tools you like for tracking to make sure you're not violating the density and so on?
SEO Quake is just a really good free Chrome plugin. I use it all the time. It's free. You could look at those, the single word densities, triple word densities, all that stuff right there. Look at your headings. And the cool thing about SEO is you don't have to have the best website in the world. You just got to be a little better than the guy in front of you. And a lot of times that bar is a lot lower than you think. And so you could use that tool to, look at your competitor sites, look at your site, look at my sites, and kind of see what you're doing.
It's kind of like the old story about if a bear was chasing the 2 of us, I don't have to be faster than the bear.
Exactly. Yep. Just faster than that guy, than your buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then where does Google My Business in all this?
Oh my God. Yeah. So Google My Business, Google, I guess they call it Google Business Profile now.
They change it again.
Yeah.
It's always changing.
I know.
Google Places.
I know.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically, right. So just what it is your business directory listing on Google, right? So if you Google something like McDonald's and you see the 3 McDonald's on the map, that's a Google Business Profile. And it's one of the fastest, easiest ways to get to the top of Google. Kind of a little SEO hack, right? To get up there. You could optimize a Google My Business profile in an hour or so, and you'll see a tremendous amount of increase in traffic, clicks, everything just from that.
Right.
And I've gotten as many as 15 leads in a month off of one Google My Business profile.
Do you have any strategies in making sure that your profile gets more clicks versus, again, your buddy who you're competing against, right? How do you outrank someone that's on your Google profile now, you said? Google Business Profile.
Yeah, Google Business. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it sounds stupid, but one of the best things is just fill everything out. Most people leave it super incomplete. They don't put their hours, they don't put the year they're open, they don't put, they might have, it gives you an about us section where you could put 750 characters. I see people put 2 lines, we buy, we're a real estate investment company out of, Beaumont, Montana or something, family owned and operated. It's that doesn't really, you have no keywords in there whatsoever. You don't, yeah, just fill everything out. I'll put as many keywords in there as I can. You could put products, right? I got a product, free cash offer on your house in 24 hours or less. Services, cash for houses, cash for condos, cash for land, cash home buyers. We buy houses.
As we're talking, I'm just feeling more and more bad about myself because I don't know how much money I've left on the table, but definitely all those things are neglected. I was the guy that would put 2 lines, right?
We'll fix it after the show. I saw yours this morning.
Yeah.
We got to fix it.
Dang it. Okay.
What's cool though is, you got nowhere to go but up. And right there on your business profile too, it'll show you I forget what the word is, but basically your progress. Yeah. Right. So you'll be able to see hey, after I made these changes, boom, this is what happened.
Gotcha.
And it's such low low hanging fruit and so easy. You could literally just do a couple things.
Right.
Like again, like the year opened is really important because like, let's just say there's 3 of you guys that, someone Googles We Buy Houses and 3 of them pop up in the map pack. All of you guys have the exact same reviews, but like this one, 5+ years in business, 7+ years in business, and you didn't even put anything, right? Like who's going to click on that, right?
Yeah.
Opening hours is another huge one, right? A lot of people 9 to 5. But like sellers get off work at 5, and that's when they want to go and like try to sell their house, or they're not. Or I've seen a ton of investors that are closed on the weekends. I get more hot leads, and I've closed more deals from leads on Sundays than any other day. And I see people that are closed on Sunday. I'm like, wow, you're.
I want to say when I was doing it myself before having the team do it, when I was just doing it all manually, I want to say I was always 8 to 8, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you want to go do something, I'm available.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, so let's go my business. So, what about off page? Is that considered an off Google? Is that off page SEO? Google My Business?
Yeah, I mean it's a little different, right? I mean, but
it's like a third thing.
It's like a gateway drug in SEO is Google My Business because you get some leads from that like really quick, and once you realize like, wow, these are hot online leads, and I didn't just pay $500 for them, you're like, I want more,
Right.
and that's when you start really jumping into the SEO.
Yeah. There are 2 types of salespeople out there. There are the convincers and there are the sales professionals. For the first 9 years of my career, I was the convincer. Convincers are always out there trying to convince people to meet with them and buy from them. Their strategy is to try to push hard and never take no for an answer. And by focusing on this strategy, they spend a lot of time on cold calling, the next marketing gimmick, features and benefits, how they and their company are the best, following up until their prospect buys or dies. All of this requires time and energy. The problem isn't the model itself, it's that their approach pushes prospects away. And this is the same exact thing that happened to me before I figured out the close more sales formula. The solution? Sell customers exactly what they want to buy. That's right, I said it. We sell customers exactly what they want to buy. Because I would rather get an easy sale with a happy customer instead of a difficult sale from a customer who felt sold. No thanks. I did that before and it sucks. So here's the deal. I explain everything in the Close More Sales course. It's an 11-module course that shows you everything you need to know to close more sales. The best part, you can use this in any industry, not just real estate. So no matter what you're selling and to who you're selling to, this formula will lead to easier sales. Go to closemoresales.com/sales masterclass. One word, closemoresales.com/sales. Yeah, we had one lead late last year. Just like, we were just on your Google reviews. We want to sell our house to you.
Yeah,
that's it.
Exactly.
Like, show up, just buy the house. Okay, so what about off-page SEO?
Yeah, so typically a lot of that is backlinks. So, and just to tell people what a backlink is basically when another website links to your website. And it sounds stupid, like why would that matter? But it really like accounts for like over 50% of your SEO. And the reason why is because, again, Google's whole job is to put the best and the most complete answer in front of a searcher as fast as possible, but they want to put it from a real, legit, credible company that has good content. And the best way Google could determine is it's a good company that has good content is are other people linking to that content and to the site. Yeah. Because other websites wouldn't be linking to scammy fly-by-night websites, right? And so that's why dialing your page better than the guy next to you, get more better backlinks than the guy next to you.
So how does someone go about getting backlinks?
Like the natural organic way, right, is to like what most people do, what I did for like the longest time was just reach out to a ton of website owners, say, hey, I love your blog. It's awesome. You put out such good content. Like, I'd love to contribute to it. I could write you a free article about how to sell your house with code violations and, or, one of these 5, 6, 7 topics, right? You choose and I'll write it for free. In exchange, you let me link on that page. Right. So basically you might, reach out to, 300 people and 4 or 5 of them say, sure, yeah, I'll let you like write an article. And now you got to go and write those, 3 to 5 articles and then send them to them and hope they publish them. And then boom, you got a link.
Right.
When your competitors have, been doing this for a while and they have, 500 links and you're trying to close deals, like, it's a grind, right? It's a grind.
So it's basically you need someone in your organization, whether yourself, maybe a VA or someone, just constantly doing outbound touches to say, hey, can I write an article on your website?
That's one of the ways, right? I know Haro is another way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they call it like help a reporter out.
Yeah.
There's a couple other like versions like Turkle and some other ones, but that's where, reporters are constantly trying to write articles, write stories, and they want to quote someone. And so they'll post something, that day, like, hey, are you interested in, do I have any real estate people here that can answer a question about, I don't know, VA financing for, something. And then you go and like respond to that question, you and 100 other people. And if that reporter liked your quote more than a lot of the other guys, they, might quote you and then put a link to your website in exchange.
Right.
Sometimes though they don't give you a link, or it's a no follow link, or
I've had that experience.
Yeah.
The no follow, or like, hey, you forgot to link to my website.
Right. Yeah.
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 Okay. So a lot of manual work then to build the backlinks.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So in one way, that sounds like a lot of heavy work, but another way, that's like a moat you can build, because if you do it and other people don't, you have a competitive advantage.
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people are just too, like,
You can say it.
not lazy, but like, it's just they're not willing to wait, right? The delayed gratification, because it's not something that happens overnight. It could take a while. Like even with a brand new site, it could take me a few months before I even start getting like one lead on it. But I mean the juice is worth the squeeze. You could start pay-per-click today and start getting leads. The thing with pay-per-click and like any other marketing channel is, the costs just keep on going up.
Yeah.
And they're super expensive. And you could start doing a ton of backlinks on your site today and, put that foundation in place and then just be coasting off your work for like years. Like I hardly do anything on my website anymore, like $500 a month. And it's like, we did like 80 grand in assignments like last month, like not crazy like some other people, but like the ROI is like huge. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, so we have Brandon Bateman here, right? Bateman Collective. He's talked about like, it's like all the above strategy. Like it's not, don't do PPC. It's just do SEO while you're doing PPC.
Absolutely.
Right? Build the foundation while you're building everything else.
Yeah.
What's a reasonable amount, right? So say you and I talk and afterwards you're like, you know what, Steve, forget it. Go do it yourself. What's the reasonable amount for someone who's spending in a market like Phoenix?
Like,
to do their own SEO or to hire a company to do SEO?
Oh man, it's a loaded question. I mean, so we do SEO, right? And if you wanted to hire me, like, again, we try to be very transparent and like exactly, what you're getting. It's like, it's not like one of those companies like, oh, we do SEO for you for $1,500 a month, and it's like, okay, what SEO am I getting for $1,500, right? Like SEO 2 parts, dialing your page. We do that for people. We'll take a site and it's a flat fee, $5,000, and I optimize your site just like I would my own. I fix all your errors that you probably have, a bunch of stuff. I optimize it with like 60 location pages, and then boom, now that's dialed in, right? And then the backlinks, we do backlinks for people just based on their goals and their budget. I got some guys doing $500 a month in backlinks. I got some guys doing like 5,000. It just depends. And but like I got a guy here in Phoenix with like $500 a month, and he's getting more leads than you would think for that price. But if you were to like, hey Keith, how can I take a site here in Phoenix and get it off the ground and get as many leads as fast as possible, like I'd probably say you'd probably want to be around like $2,000 to $3,000 a month to catch up to those other guys. And then the thing is too, like again, Google doesn't rank websites; they rank pages, and so each page that you care about probably needs some links. Phoenix is going to need more links than like any other city around, but like if you look look at your competitors. There's a little tool called Mozbar, which is another little free plugin. Super, you click on anyone's like, Gilbert or Tempe or San, or, all the little Peoria or whatever the cities around here. They might, most of them probably didn't even create the city pages, right? They just have Phoenix page. And then if they did, they probably didn't put any backlinks on those pages. So usually I'm able to get people like fast ones by putting 1 or 2 backlinks on some of their small cities. Well, we're waiting for Phoenix and like their Arizona State page and some of the other, competitive ones to really start ranking. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, let's say I've talked to a lot of people in the past, and they're like, why don't you do this service? Why don't you do that service? And they're like, I don't even know what questions to ask. Right. So different scenario here, right? So I say, hey, Keith, look, I don't want to work with you, conflict of interest, right? But I'd like you to help me vet this other SEO provider. What questions should I be asking this other SEO provider?
First off, what am I getting for my money?
Opportunity to scorch earth, by the way.
Right. Yeah. There's a few things, right? Like, man, there's so many. So I didn't create an SEO company because I wanted to. I felt like the world needed me to because no one else was doing it right. I saw a lot of people were asking me, years ago, like, hey, Keith, will you do SEO for me? Like, and I'm like, dude, I'm over here closing deals. I'm busy. I'll tell you what to do, but like, it's just not my thing. I would even refer them to other companies that I thought were like doing, probably the best at the time. But then I realized they were still like, not doing... not malicious, like, hey, they're just selling snake oil, but they're doing all these things that just aren't going to move the needle. Like a ton of blog posts that are probably going to get de-indexed anyways and end up hurting you, or stuff that's just, wasn't optimized, or overspending on backlinks, like horror links, right? Like horror links are high quality and will help you, but if you just keep writing for Haro and getting, the same reporters from the same websites are doing Haro pitches every day. And like, it's not about how many backlinks you get, but it's more getting different backlinks from different websites.
Diversity.
Yeah. And so if I just keep on writing and for the Go Banking Rates, and the first backlink you get from Go Banking Rates powers up your site 100%. The second one powers it up 30 more %. The third one even less. So you get like diminishing returns. And so if all you're buying are these $600 Haro links over and over again, spending $3,000 to $5,000 a month, and it's a waste of money. It's a huge waste of money. And so yeah, kind of what are you getting? Also, what kind of backlinks? What are they going to power your website or not? At the end of the day, all we care about is this backlink going to power my website? Right. And from that perspective, subdomains, like I mentioned before, just aren't going to power your website. So that's anything .something.com, right? Is a subdomain backlink. They're just not going to offer any power.
Yeah, it's kind of like we saw for some time, people were really excited. Like, it was like ireporter.cnn.com or whatever it was. I was like, yeah, or ireport.cnn.com. I was like, that's great, but that's not the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other things, like how many other links are on that same page. So let's just say you got a backlink from a decent site, but they also link to 50 other people on that exact same page. And so a page has a finite amount of power that it could pass, link juice to all the different links on that page. So if you're one of 50, versus I'd rather be on one of 5, right? Your backlink juice is basically going to be divided by 50 at that point. And I've seen some, 1 of 200, 1 of 300, and everything else on paper looks good. The other big thing with backlinks and is it going to power is how far away from the homepage are you? And what I mean by that is like those dashes, right? Like, so like, it might be like stevetrang.com -- real estate -- business September 2022 archives this page. So now you're like 7 steps away from the homepage, and the farther away you are from the homepage, the less relevant and important that page is to Google, and so it powers your site way less.
Right.
So you want to be as close to the homepage as possible. So like 1 to 2 steps is kind of ideal. And so those are the big things as far as, and then the domain authority. That's what most people look at, right? And so people, you'll see stuff if you go on Fiverr or something. Oh, we'll give you backlinks from, domain authority like 50 plus. And you're like, oh, wait, that's a subdomain and you're one of 500 links and it's super far away from the homepage. And, you buy 500 of those and you wonder why you don't like move up in the rankings whatsoever. That's usually why.
Yeah. I mean, and like buying backlinks from Fiverr and those kinds of places, like those are the ways if I wanted to destroy my competition is what I would do.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Like let me go buy a bunch of like suspicious links.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Never did that. Right. But I can't say it's not. It never crossed my mind.
Right.
And it's funny. We were talking about, if you and I were to potentially partner a few years back, I had a guy reach out to me. Right. It's like, oh, hey, like, look, Phoenix is going to be easy to rank for. Let me do it for you. And then we'll work together. And like every lead that closes, right? Like you guys keep 70, I'll keep 30. And I was like, okay, like costs of lead is 0. I will gladly give 30% if it costs me nothing to acquire, right? It's just revenue. Pay my sales guys 10%, pay my TC $500. The math works out pretty well, right? I'm like, yeah, for sure, let's do it, right? And then nothing.
Just ghosted you.
Just nothing. And it was like, what was the point of wasting my time having me go, like, I drafted like the LLC docs and everything, operating agreement, right? We went, like, this was intentional. It's like, look, I want this to be clear, right? Expectations, or it's a partnership. What you're doing, what I'm doing, what we're responsible for. Got a new website, right? To make sure, like, because I didn't want to send it to my website because then it's like, how do they find the website? It's like, got a new website. So that it's clear any leads that came from this website was from your efforts. And then nothing. How often do you hear stuff like this?
I've heard of a guy doing that. I don't know him personally. I've seen like a buddy of mine in El Paso kind of fell for that same thing, and the guy didn't really do anything, and maybe he did something, but it wasn't moving the needle whatsoever.
It's just wild. So maybe that's just an isolated incident. And then you were saying earlier, Phoenix is like prime for pickings.
There's a few different markets that are, that I've worked in that are kind of really competitive on the ground, right? Like there's, iBuyers and hedge funds and a ton of people out there, marketing, doing, all these different marketing channels, but they're not doing SEO like they could. And there's a lot of opportunity right here in Phoenix, which is kind of insane for how many gurus and people there are.
This is not just the real estate guru, but it's also like the sales guru capital of the world as well, right? So if everyone is watching right now, like, are there any particular cities, like if you're in this city, it's like you should jump on this?
Oh my God, South Carolina is like low hanging fruit. That's one of the biggest ones. Is South Carolina, and then here. I mean, there's some a few other, but the biggest thing are those cities right outside the big ones, right? Like everyone and their mom has a Dallas page. A lot of them don't have a Mesquite or Arlington or all those other little ones, and they're decent volume and very little competition.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, and then this is kind of like a side question, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but is that like what the PPL companies are doing?
What do you mean?
Doing SEO for these smaller markets that they can sell in those markets, or no?
I mean, definite. Like when I say small markets, I'm not talking like out in the middle of nowhere, right? But I mean those
tertiary markets.
Yeah.
So like here, like it'd be kind of like a Flagstaff, right? Like it's a mile and a half north of here, no major players, but decent sized population.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine they are. I know that. Yeah.
And then you and I actually met at Real Estate Roundup, right? So we had Andy here a few weeks back. He's like, "Oh yeah, my friend Keith Sant." I was like, "Oh, Keith, I remember Keith."
Right.
And I remember Keith specifically, not for SEO, but for the guy that got the orange cowboy hat.
Right.
Right. So you remember that?
I still got it.
Yeah, you still got it. What was the cowboy hat for?
They gave an award to whoever traveled the furthest to get there. Right. So since I came from Tacoma, Washington, all the way down to Biloxi, Mississippi, I got that.
Yeah, that was a commute. So like Biloxi, I think that was like my third trip of the year for 2019. So like I remember, so we started the podcast in 2018, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told my wife, and I was a strategic coach. I was like, all right, once the strategic coach is done, I'm not traveling anymore, right? Because like I'm traveling for quarterly events that for my own personal development, but I'm done, right? And then Max Maxwell comes on the show in 2018, and he says, hey, I'm doing an event in Dallas. We Live 19. This is March of 2019. It's like, would you want to speak there? It's like, well, hell yeah, I want to speak on that. So get an exception for the wife. Hey, can I speak in Dallas? Right? And she says yes. And then after that, it was Houston in September. It was New Orleans, I want to say in October or December.
Oh my gosh.
And it was Biloxi sometime around then as well. Right? It was the second half of the year for sure. And she came with me to Houston. But I was like, yeah, it's Mississippi. She's like, I'm not going to Mississippi. Right? But the hotel was nice. It was like a little Bellagio.
I think it was the Beau Rivage. Yeah.
Beau Rivage, right?
Yep.
It was like a little Bellagio in Mississippi. And like, it was crazy because like you fly into Mississippi and like there's nothing, right? And then like 20, 30 minutes from the airport, you got this little Vegas strip with all these casinos and everything's nice. I mean, I didn't really go see all those other casinos. It was like a nice little strip of Vegas.
Right there in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? The water wasn't so great. Right? But I remember, gambling prom, spending some time at the tables, right? After speaking. But what was for me, I remember I got a chance to speak on sales, and like I want to say I spoke for like 30 minutes, right, on sales. And now we just hosted an event. It was 2 full days. Right? Like, it's kind of crazy to see like, this journey for speaking for like 30 minutes on stage about sales, and now it's like 2 full days. But you were sharing with me that you picked up something that's really helpful for you.
Oh, absolutely.
What was that?
That scorched earth thing that you talk about. And that was huge. And, you said that one, and then the other one, what was it? You must be saying this for a reason, right? Just a couple little hooks, right? Like we're like super powerful, but definitely that scorched earth. That's like, hey, like, when scorched earth is when you would use that when sellers are trying to get multiple offers, right? Like they're like, hey, Keith, hey, thanks for coming. Just let you know I am getting, we're shopping around trying to just get, a couple offers, and then we're going to take the best one. And I'm like, oh, Karen, man, that's awesome. You have no idea how cool that is to hear. You have no idea how many people like hit me up and like I'm the only person they're getting an offer from. Like, that's cool that you're like a smart shopper. I love that. Like, I want you to get the best, price for your house. Like, that's why I created this company. But, just to make sure, right, that you're actually getting a real offer, because, unfortunately, there's these guys that, took a 2-day seminar at the Hilton, and now all of a sudden they're real estate investors, and, but they're, putting out offers that they just can't, actually cash or close on. Look at, these different things in a contract, right? Like, what's their earnest money, right? If it's, a couple $100 or something really small and it's refundable, like they don't have any skin in the game. They're not, the likelihood of them leaving you out to dry on closing day and not fulfilling is really high. Also there's this thing, I guess it's called like wholesaling or something, where they're not the actual buyer, right? Like, and they're actually going to like shop your deal out to someone else. And that's if they put like as or assigned or something weird next to their name, like that's something else. And like any other type of contingency, it could look something as stupid as like, subject to funding partner's approval or something like that. Next, wait, you're not the actual buyer. Who's this funding partner? And they're not here to actually like, what? Like, but, just there's certain things like that. If there's any contingencies whatsoever, like just make sure, because, I don't want you, being left out to dry. Like your house is going to go to auction. And if they don't actually fulfill, or they try to come back and renegotiate, you're screwed. And, again, if you, get another offer and you just want me to look over it and make sure that they're, a straight shooter, like feel free, shoot it over.
How many extra deals do you think you did from that alone?
Oh my God. Like I could think of like 4, like right off the bat that were like huge. Where like I wasn't even the highest offer at that point too, where they were like, like, yeah, Keith, this other person came in and offered me like 50 grand more, but like they had everything that you told me to like look out for. And like, I just, I feel like you're the guy that could actually get this done. And, yeah, like I know I at least got like 4, like right, like
4 significant size deals.
Yes. Yeah. Good ones. Yeah. Like the other guy was willing to spend 50 grand more than me. That's how good of the deal was.
Yeah. So awesome. You went, traveled a long distance, learned, and applied.
Absolutely.
Right. That is phenomenal. One thing I'm seeing a lot, right, with ChatGPT and AI, and you hear these guys like, oh, you can have AI write these blog articles for you now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so if one guy can do AI blogs, and really anyone can do AI blogs, any concerns on your part, or I don't know, how important is blogging as part of your SEO strategy?
Not very important at all.
Not very
I mean, it is important, but it's not going to move. It's not one of those things you focus on in the beginning, right? Like the city pages are that high intent, high quality like seller. The blog stuff is more like informational content that the conversion rate, on a click from, how to sell a house in probate. Although a probate deal is a killer deal, just because someone Googles how to sell a house in probate doesn't mean they're actually an executor, doesn't mean that they're, ready to sell or that they're even, ready to go. So it's not the same quality of traffic, and you don't need a pile of blog posts. You just need a few. Like I'm talking like I've had people's site blow up from like 4 good quality blog posts, not 100 or 50 or like posting one a week. Like for why, right? Like you got to understand like what you're actually writing for and what you're writing about. And then the other big thing is a lot of people will just post stuff willy nilly that actually hurts your site. And I'm talking about like posting stuff like 5 tricks to sell your house faster in Phoenix. And it's like I would never post something like that. And the reason why is because again, Google doesn't rank websites, they rank pages. You already have a page you want to rank for sell your house fast in Phoenix. That's your Phoenix city page. So I'm not going to make another page that's about how to sell your house fast in Phoenix, because now you got 2 pages fighting against each other, and they call it content cannibalization or competing content. And then neither of them are going to rank as well as they can or as they could. They're going to fight against each other and you're going to be screwed. Same with like, posting 5 different things about selling a house and divorce. And then I see a lot of people do a lot of the blog stuff like on a city level, like how to sell a house and divorce in Phoenix, but people don't really Google that. And Google doesn't necessarily want to show that either. Like, because it's like state level stuff, right? Like they're Googling like how to sell a house and divorce in Arizona, or who gets the house during divorce in Arizona, or can I sell my house in foreclosure in Arizona? Even if they're in Phoenix, they're not adding Phoenix to it most of the time. And if you actually Google, like, can I sell a house in foreclosure from Phoenix, and look at what Google will actually show in the search results, it's usually state level stuff. It's almost always state level stuff.
Right.
Or national stuff, right? Can you sell a house in foreclosure, on a national level, or can you sell a house in foreclosure in Arizona?
Yeah.
And so creating city pages is just a waste of time.
Any other major mistakes that people make that you see?
Those are some of the biggest. ChatGPT it can be helpful, right? You can write decent stuff, but Google doesn't want to publish and house a lot of that stuff, right? Like everything they put in there, it costs a lot of money to have all these pages in their index. And so they don't want people publishing thousands of articles a day, just so that way they could spend more money, like actually putting the stuff in the index. And, it's an algorithm could spot algorithm written content. If you're going to do like ChatGPT stuff, you have to still do a ton of like editing to make it not look like that.
So I guess really, if someone's competing against you, you want them to have the AI content.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go do it.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's see here. We talked about SEO, Phoenix, cheapest. SEO is the only lead source that goes down cost per lead over time. You want to talk about that real quick or reiterate that point?
Yeah, absolutely. So like like in the beginning, let's just say you spend, I don't know, like $5,000 to dial in your site, and within and that was it, and you didn't spend any more money, and you get like 5 leads in the first like 2 or 3 months or something, right? Like 5 leads in 3 months. Now your cost per lead is basically $1,000 a lead, right? But then as you keep on getting more, the cost per lead continues to go down. I've had like one of my guys that's been around for a little bit, like he was spending like $3,000 a month, pretty aggressive to try to like outrank everyone else in his market. And then I hit him up like 9 months ago. I'm like, man, dude, you're crushing it. Like I can't get this site any higher, right? Like you're just, unless you want to expand and go into more markets, add more, states or something, like you're crushing it. You don't need to keep on getting backlinks. I'm like, well, we could dial it down to like $500 a month. He's like, well, let's do $1,000 a month just to be safe. But like he's getting 60 leads a month right now on his site. He's, at that price, like if you actually break all of his spend down, like let's just say he spent like $60,000 all in on his website, like his cost per lead is like $60 a lead.
Yeah.
Like and that's over exaggerating how much he's actually spent and under exaggerating the amount of actual leads. If I look like on it, because I can't see who's actually just calling him in. And so, yeah, like.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people that would be upset with under $100 a lead.
Yeah. But now, like, if you look at, like, he's doing $9.99 a month and getting 60 plus leads, that's $15 a lead. Right?
So basically, anyone that's spending money on marketing really needs an ad and SEO strategy, is what I'm hearing.
Like a lot of things in life, a year from now, you wish you started today.
Yeah. Well, Bateman said the same thing like 2 years ago. So
right.
Everyone that was paying attention should have started 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
As now. Yep.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. So I'm going to have another selfish request, right?
Yep.
So I bought closemoresales.com, right?
Close more sales?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm hanging my hat. Like, this is it. I'm the sales guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to do SEO for that, is there any different strategy than what we talked about as far as like the Phoenix location or the location pages, or is it the same exact thing?
Yeah, you probably don't need. I'd have to look a little bit more in that industry. I don't think you'd probably need those city pages like as much. You'd probably be doing more of that informational content for different. Is it just sales for real estate? Is it or like?
I mean, our core is still real estate, but we're trying to branch out to other industries.
Yeah, so then
ticket, solar, roofing.
Exactly. So having a page for all of that, solar, solar negotiating training, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you basically just create a page for all those different niches.
Gotcha.
And then get some links on them, get some homepage. Is that going to be your company name, the URL?
I mean, our company is still Disruptors, but our brand is Close More Sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing with two different taglines, right? Like one is like people pay me to close more sales. It's one tagline. The other one is we don't sell, we get people to sell themselves.
Yeah.
That's the other tagline. Neither of which, like that one doesn't include the close more sales, but
yeah.
Trying to figure out which tagline like speaks to the audience more, right? When they read it, it's like, oh my God, that's what I need.
Right. Yeah. My big thing, a lot of people go and get URLs for those keywords. They're not necessarily all that important like they probably were like back in the day. And I just don't like it when people go and get like, we buy houses, fast Oklahoma City, but then their brand name is something completely different. And so there's kind of a disconnect between your URL and your brand, and then people get confused and you lose out on like that brand equity, that brand juice that you really, because again, Google's whole job, put the best and most complete answer, but from a real legit credible company. And getting those brand searches is really important. And if you're already getting brand searches for like Disruptors, going and like trying to create another one, which is now going to split the amount of brand searches you actually get, kind of water it down when you could just piggyback off, your main
Disruptors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, this is that constant battle we got back and forth, right? Confusing the audience, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So we're thinking it's just we still have the company name, and then Close More Sales would be like the marketing component. But
exactly.
We'll see. Okay. So, so thinking back, and if someone wanted to, so we talked about like if this makes sense, like totally makes sense to do what the SEO component. So, how can someone find out more about you?
SEO meets realestateinvestors.com. I'm happy to jump on a free phone call with anyone, break down their site, their competition, kind of, tell them what they should do, whether it's hire me or, I'll tell them exactly what they could do. And we, Andy and I, we do a lot of free stuff too in our Facebook group. We have a free Facebook group called SEO Meets Real Estate Investors where literally, I just do stuff for people that have more money than they have time, but there's a ton of people in our group that have done it all on their own and closing deals and super pumped. So.
Yeah, I was on your website earlier And I mean, I was looking at it, it's like that's an unreasonably good price.
Oh, for some of those packages and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, those are like, yeah, so those are like backlink packages. If you're like, hey, because a lot of people could do their on-page stuff on their own. Like they follow, there's single word densities, headings, images, alt text, they could do that, but then it's that grind is those backlinks, right? And so you can, at that price, we're basically like $50 backlinks, but it could take you a lot more, depending on what your time is worth to get one backlink from a haro, it could take, like hundreds of dollars, and yeah, pain in the butt. So
yeah, like
they're very competitively priced and they're powerful, and we're getting a lot of people really killer results.
Yeah, so I could, if I had signed up with you, be ranking in Phoenix in like 6 months.
I'll get you leads within the first like 3 months for sure. As far as like a lot of people think the goal is to quote unquote like rank number one for something. That's not the goal. I mean, I ranked number one for like Sell My House Fast Tacoma, which, again, Tacoma's not a huge city. It's like 250,000, but like in the last 3 months, I've gotten 12 clicks from that site or from that one phrase. That's like one lead, right? That's like, so a lot of people, they might even do SEO and they get number one for like a phrase and they think that's the end of everything. And then they're not getting the leads they want. And they're like, oh, this sucks. It doesn't actually work. And I'm like, no, you want to get on the map for a ton of stuff. And so that's where having the single word density, having a bigger page than other people, being able to show up for those thousands of things that people search. That's the, for me, the goal for, my clients is get more leads. Right. And so like, I got guys that, aren't number one for anything, but they're getting 10, 12, 15, 30 leads a month right now. And they're like, they're super pumped.
Do you do retargeting from those SEO leads?
I don't personally, but I think people should.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing any paid marketing whatsoever, like I wouldn't do pay-per-click without having retargeting on.
Right.
You're just leaving a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, I just imagine like because the even the retargeting is pretty cheap, relatively speaking.
Oh yeah, I know. Facebook ads in general, like yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so lots of change since you got in the business in 2018. You got this evolution. So what does your life look like today versus when you first started?
Well now, like I'm doing SEO full time for people. That's what so all my website leads that I get, they go off to a buddy of mine. We partner together. Like he closes all the deals and we just JV everything. So I haven't talked to a seller in like a year and a half. I'm not really interested in, doing a ton of single family or like, flips or wholesales at the moment. I still love real estate. Mine and my wife's goal is to buy a mobile home park a year. So we actually I created a mobile home park site recently. Got like 9 leads on it last month, which is
nice.
I was actually really pumped. So there's a lot of other asset classes too, like, condos, land, mobile homes, commercial property is a really good one that people aren't going after. There's high vol, a lot of good opportunities out there. But yeah, so I do SEO for people full time, and I live in South Texas, and
so you want to buy a mobile home park a year?
That's our goal. Yeah.
Why mobile home parks?
Well, it's more my wife's goal. Their family, they own a bunch and they like them. It's definitely high cash. Yeah, good ROI. And
fantastic ROI.
Yeah.
Not so much appreciation, from my understanding.
No.
But the cash flow is great.
Exactly. It's more for the recurring revenue.
And the land goes up eventually. Eventually, when the city expands to it, then the land's really valuable.
Yeah.
So what do you love most about SEO?
Man, I love that anyone could do it. I love that it is something that you could get in without a lot of money. And like, I root for the underdog. I love helping people out, especially the guys that don't have, a crap load of money every month, right? Like, there's this guy here that he's got a very small budget, right? $500 a month, but he's already getting leads, and he's like, I love that. I love that, people can get in and get hot leads without, that cold calling or the texting or that other stuff. That's just a grind.
It's only reason why I got so hard into direct market or paid marketing, because I got crushed by SEO.
Yeah.
Right. Like it took a pretty big toll. Right.
I could see that. Yeah.
So, but looking back, I should have just got back on the horse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate. I mean, there were a lot of good things came from learning paid marketing, but I should have gotten right back on a horse. You spent countless weeks going back and forth with a homeowner only to lose a deal because the seller changed their mind, another wholesaler made an unreasonable offer, or what the seller needs from the sale, you just can't pay. Now imagine you've got the ultimate control on a property that you just locked up, meaning you're on title and every decision has to go through you, eliminating virtually every external threat. That's why the installment method was created. Through installment payments, you have full control of the property as your name is now on the title. Any decision the seller wants to make now has to be approved by you. No longer can they pull out equity, go with another buyer, or change their mind. Imagine combining the best of creative finance with the flexibility of marketing the property on the MLS to collect the most amount of revenue possible, all while having total control of the property. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The concept here is simple, but implementing is challenging. So visit wholesale2024.com to learn more so that you'll never have another deal blow up. What would you do if money was an object?
With my life?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing I'm doing now. Money is, yeah.
Yeah.
I love my life. I've never been happier.
More SEO or more family stuff, more mobile homes?
I definitely like family stuff. I love spending time with my family, my wife. Hanging out on the lake, the river, just doing things but I love helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like I get like a helper's high.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, selflessness or something. Like, and so if I didn't have anyone to help, I'd kind of be like, what's the point?
Be depressed.
Yeah. But I love helping people with their SEO and marketing. And, I'll talk to you about all kinds of different stuff other than, I got other guys that, like, what are you doing right now? Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not an expert in all things, marketing, but I've done, enough things wrong to know what to do right. And if I could, like, you're not doing bandit signs or, if you have $0, like here, go post in Facebook groups. Here's exactly what I would do. Here's a Craigslist ad you go post for free or $5 in the, the thing, like you could still close deals from that. And here's exactly what I would do for a bandit sign. Like you're going to close your first deal or a deal to get money in your pocket. And then you go and reinvest it in that paid stuff or
you just want to help people.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your epic life goal?
Oh man. I don't know. It's crazy. I feel like I grew up in a trailer park and I already feel like I'm living it. So
yeah.
I don't know. Life's good though.
So talk about that. So you say you grew up in a trailer park in Washington?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was that like?
Depressing. No, I mean, yeah. It was nuts. Mm-hmm. It was nuts. So like I said, I got emancipated when I was 16, so like family life wasn't all that cool.
Mm-hmm.
I convinced a judge to let me go and do my own thing. I moved in with my uncle.
How does that work? Because like I don't know how you're a little bit younger than me. I remember like Gary Coleman, right? Like Different Strokes. Like he was one of those like Hollywood kids that like divorced his parents.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like how does that even work?
Yeah. I told a judge that I felt like I could take better care of myself than my parents could, and she said, "Hey, I'm not going to emancipate anyone unless they have their GED," and like and so like I went and got my GED. I took it all the tests in one day, which I guess a lot of people go and take them like they did it on Wednesdays, and I showed up on Wednesday morning. I took I was thinking like 2 or 3 tests. You have to take like 5 or 6, I forget, and I just ended up taking them all like in that same day. I'm like, I'll just keep knocking them out, and I ended up scoring in like the 96th percentile of anyone my age that had ever taken the GED in Washington, whatever. And then came back. The judge said, okay, they emancipated me. And
so 16 years old, I want to get emancipated. You had to get GED. And like that week, you just took your GED?
I had to wait. So I was 15 then. I think it was like, I don't know, November or something when that happened. Mm-hmm. But I had to wait till my 16th birthday to be able to do that. And that was February 9th. And I think I got back in front of the judge in like March 16th or something. And then I like left my parents' house like a week later.
Gotcha. Now you mentioned, we were talking before the show, that your brother had a chance to work with Stephen Curry.
Yeah. Yeah. He became a real estate agent in Menlo Park. Mm-hmm. And so Menlo Park is like super affluent, right? Like tear down houses, like little tiny, 2,000 square foot lots are going for over $1 million.
Right.
But yeah, he sold, him and his boss like sold a house to Stephen Curry, like,
Right.
and then like, I guess a year later he wanted to like move, and so then he sold it. I think about it. I probably shouldn't say prices, but yeah, a couple million more than and just break even on it. But
so having emancipate yourself from your parents, you still have a good relationship with your brother.
yeah.
Okay.
Him, for sure.
Gotcha. What is your biggest struggle today?
Oh man, I think I'm still learning how to be a really good leader, right? Like I'm really good at holding myself accountable. Like, I can wake up and grind and work, but then like, getting other people, kind of getting the best out of everyone else around me. Like people say I'm a great boss, but I'm like, I know I could lead you better.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm still working on is being a better leader.
Do you know what your personality profile is, whether DISC or PI or anything like that?
I forget.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're probably a pretty high S because you want to help people.
Yeah.
And the challenge of being a high S because you want to help people, because I can kind of see this in myself as well, is that we have a really hard time holding people accountable. And we also have a really hard time inspiring people.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, you said you want to be successful? Go be successful. Right? And like, if you get stuck, let me know. I'll help you. Right? But this whole deal is like, hey, you need to go do A, B, and C, and let me know when you're done. Right? And coming back, hey, Keith, you said you were going to do A, B, and C. A, B, and C is not done. What's going on? Like, I hate that conversation.
Me too.
So when you're saying that your biggest struggle is being a better leader, I can totally get where you're coming from. So what are you doing to become a better leader?
Oh my gosh. Definitely, podcasts, some, books and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the best things I did though was actually kind of get myself out of that leader, because I was still managing like 8 to 10 employees in the SEOs, like on and I hired a manager and she's just been crushing it.
Nice.
She loves that. She has no problem holding people accountable and making sure stuff's done on time and saying, hey, it's not what you said, and and she just does all that, and then I could focus on clients and that kind of stuff, which is what, again, that energy audit, like doing the stuff that actually kind of makes me want to wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I have several people in our organization now who are that profile. They're like, yeah, hey, I understand the story, but like, where are we on this?
Right.
Right. You work pretty closely with Trevor, I imagine.
Yeah. We, we're good buddies. Like I met him a long time ago, and I've done some consulting for Carrot and stuff.
I would argue he's one of the best leaders I've met.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're struggling with leadership, I would talk to that guy more often.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah. So I mean, we haven't talked a bunch, but whenever we do, we're always talking about entrepreneurship or leadership. Those are the two things I could talk about all day. He can talk about all day.
Right.
Right. And so maybe you should go talk to him some more.
Absolutely.
What is your superpower?
Oh my God.
So your wife is in the other room. If I asked her to come out here and I asked her what your superpower was, what would she say?
It's a good question. Probably. I mean, a lot of kindness, compassion, definitely. Again, got a soft spot for the underdog, and wanna help people.
That was your wholesale company name.
Yeah, Kind House Buyers.
Yeah. What is your biggest regret?
Probably that I didn't get into real estate sooner. Right? That's probably it.
How old are you?
36 now.
36. You started in 18? So 6 years ago.
No, I started. Oh yeah, 2018. Not when I was 18. Yeah. So I got emancipated when I was 16. I don't tell a lot of people this, but I moved in with my uncles who grew medical marijuana for a living, and I didn't really have a lot of prospects, so I learned how to grow weed, and I grew weed for a long time. Really good at it. Medical and this and that, but I didn't like it. Like, not that I didn't like it. Like, I was super good at it.
You're so passionate about it.
Yeah, and I still like. I didn't feel good inside, like, that I was, grew weed. So I wanted to get out of it as soon as possible, but there wasn't like how many, like I was making decent money for like, a kid with a GED from South Auburn, like that grew up in a trailer park, like where, what am I going to do that could replace that kind of income? Like at that point now I got a mortgage, a house, like I wasn't really employable. I could go and get a job for $20 an hour. And what is that? Like, I don't know, like less than $3,000 a month. I think, yeah, like not even. I think after taxes and everything, I think it's like $1,600 a month or something. Like my mortgage was 11. Like what am I gonna do with it? Like, and so actually switching and getting into something, getting into real estate, honestly, was.
How much were you making growing weed?
Anywhere from like 10 grand a month.
10 grand a month.
Yeah, plus.
So it's pretty hard to like, oh, I'm too good for this money. I'm gonna go do something else.
Exactly. But I was able to do it too with like just a few hours. So, so I would, but I kept on telling myself like, I need to go back to school. I need to. So like I'd wake up in the early morning, 4 a.m., mess with my plants till like 5, 6, and then go to school. When I went back to school, we had to go to the community college, and it took me like over a year just to do the prereqs or to get caught up to college level, right? They take the assessment test, and I'm like, basically, I had to take like 4 writing and English classes just to get up to like that 100 level, over a year of those. And then, another 2 years at the community college, and then transferred to the University of Washington. And that was another 2 years. So I'm basically like growing weed and doing this for like over 5 years, and getting like, really good grades and just working my butt off. I was not the smartest, but I knew I could just outwork anyone.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of people that on the show that I'm aware of that grew weed to pay their way through college.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of people that sold weed to pay their way through college.
Yeah.
But not grew it.
Well, I mean, if you want higher margins, you got to grow it. You don't want to be the middleman.
You got to source it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, these guys were middlemen, but they were not doing it legally. So
yeah,
whole different story.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what book have you gifted more than any other?
What book? Say that again. What book? What?
Have you gifted more than any other?
Oh my God. Never Split the Difference. And honestly, so like I've gifted like my Audible login to a ton of people. I swear I'm like dyslexic. I can't read and like actually like sit there and like pay attention. I know I have ADD, but I've listened, and that was one of the biggest things when I first started school. The first class had me like read a book, and I'm like, oh my God. And I found it on Audible, and this was back in 2011, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So I listened to it, and then I just kept on like listening, and then I listened to a book like Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers, and I'm like, this is an amazing book. Why haven't I listened to more books? Like this is like screw listening to music. Like so I literally listened to like over 500 books, and I just keep on adding to my library, and I've passed my Audible account to, I think it says like, Keith's, Audible device number 75 now. Like there's so many people that have my Audible login. So I basically just gift all of that to everyone. I got a ton of different books on all kinds of different stuff.
I'm curious, like at what point is Amazon gonna be like, this is getting out of hand?
I know, right?
Because you're not the only one, right? I know a lot of other people that are the same way.
Yeah.
Where they just share. And I remember like one friend is like, yeah, like we're in a mastermind. And he gave us his Audible logins, like 5 different guys at the mastermind. I was like, this is crazy. And he looked at it and he's like, if there are any orders on Amazon, I will find you.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the fear.
I know.
For sharing that login. But that's cool. So never split the difference. Makes total sense. All right. So I want you to think about some last thoughts you want to leave all the listeners with. Just share a couple of things. Guys, if you got value today, again, please subscribe. Do not keep us a secret. Keith and I, we just talked about how he generates over $1 million worth of traffic every single month, right? Like, I think there's a lot of value here. You guys could be, if you're listening, you can go do this tomorrow and start ranking fairly quickly, right? So, what thoughts would you like to leave all the listeners with?
I mean, definitely, again, like a lot of things in life, a year from now, you wish you started today. Just get it going. It's, yeah, you won't regret it.
Well, I mean, building out your website is no different than buying real estate. Like, you develop it, and then it's an asset.
Exactly.
And it stays an asset.
Exactly.
Yeah. If someone wants to get a hold of you, how can they best get a hold of you?
Facebook, Keith Sant, Instagram. You can call me, 253-293-9789.
Man, you're going to put yourself out there. You're going to be really busy for the next few months.
You'd be surprised how many people don't call. Like, I'll help people. Like,
Yeah.
if you want my help, I'll help you.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're very, very kind heart. And then SEO meets realestateinvestors.com. Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Shout out to Steve Trang. Jump on the Steve Trang. Disruptors.